guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here in Furman Mazda in sunny Clearwater, Florida. And of course, if I'm gonna be at a Mazda dealership, I'm definitely gonna bring you this one. This is a 2019 Mazda Miata RF. So let's talk a little bit about Mazda Miata history. Mazda Miata has been around since 1990, if you could believe that. It's been that long. Since then, it's the #1 selling sports car in the world, believe it or not. And when we say sports car, we're talking about that traditional two-seat only format, two-door sports car. That's what it's all about. 1990, such a wonderful time for Mazda to come into the car segment and really touch back on that fun, light, nimble, not a lot of horsepower, but light and nimble and fun top-down sports car feel that really originated during the 50s, the 40s and 50s, and well into the 60s in England with the Austin Healey and the MGs, and eventually that beautiful Jag XKE convertible. I'm telling you though, with this 2019 Mazda Miata RF, they really have taken it to another level. Now, if you've ever wondered, what does RF mean? RF means retractable fastback. And what's great about this car is you're gonna get the best of both worlds. You're gonna get that hardtop security, that hardtop dependability no matter what the weather conditions are, but when it's sunny like it is today, you can retract that center roof section and really not only have a stunning looking car, but also a car that's gonna give you that open air experience. So let's go ahead and dive into the 2019 Mazda Miata RF. This one is a club level trim. So love that it's finished right in that beautiful soul red. That is the signature color for Mazda. Shines like a ruby out here. Love the front end, the very, very slim headlights. Their biggest thing when they came out with this Miata design, the biggest thing was to make it look a little bit more sinister. Get, more people wanting to get behind the wheel and have this parked in their garage. I really love the fogged out fog lights. They're like a nice fog tint to them, really well done. And with the club level trim, you can see that lower lip spoiler finished in gloss black really gives it a little bit more aggressive look. I would like to see the center portion come out just a little bit further, just a little bit. Gloss black across the front here. I guess the big question is, over time, what type of wear is this going to take as road debris is hitting the gloss black? But it really has a Jaguar-esque look to the front end and really does change the view of those pre-existing Mazda Miatas over the different generations. I love what they did with the hood lines, the way it slightly comes up here and then curves to the back. So proportioned. Now, speaking of this hood, for 2019, that's where all the magic is. Whether you go Mazda Miata RF or just standard MX-5 Miata, under that hood, we have a 2-liter inline-4, more power, 181 horsepower, screaming at a red line of 7,500 RPM. But we'll get to that as soon as we pop that beautiful hood. As we come around the corner, I like the blacked out wheel. Very, very simple look, but really just gets the job done style-wise. This is a 17-inch wheel. Now you can go another option level within the club, that Club Sport, which is going to get you the BBS wheels and also some Brembo calipers. This one has your standard calipers in this car, but just love the overall flow of the design. It was like they just carved this by hand from a big block of clay and really just seamless and just free flowing. You got your side marker lights here, nicely done. I love the shape. And then I also think it was very, very smart with this car to have that lower sill that just extends ever so slightly from front to rear. As we go up onto the roof, this is the big excitement that was new for 2018. This roof section folds away and you have open air drop top fun. I like the gloss black on the mirrors, the black paint on the mirrors, gives it an extra sporty look. And then as we work our way back, because what's nice is you got the black here, you have a black section here, and then black across the back. But just love the rear fenders, how they flare out to house those rear tires. And as we wrap it around the back, very, very tasteful third brake light. If I'm gonna zonk it, it's gonna be this thing right here. Can't we have all that functionality right in this shark fin antenna? Why do we need this one as well? It kind of kills the overall look of it, I'll be honest. Just that simple piece. But I like what they did with the rear window, very sleek. And what's cool is when that top goes down, all of this stays in place. And I promise you, we are going to show you what it's like to have that top section gone for you. Now it has a nice kick up rear deck lid spoiler, just enough. It's got the gloss black to match all four corners of this car. I love the taillight design. When they came out with this car back in 2016, I love the design of the taillights, that MX-5 badge. Remember, if you look on the back of this, it doesn't say Miata anywhere. Technically, the car's an MX-5. We all know it as the Miata, and many of us love it as the Miata. New for 2019, you have your backup camera finally, because that is a requirement from the Department of Transportation. You have it nice and sunken in. And then I also like the flat black across the back, and you have a twin exhaust outlet. Now what's interesting is that the exhaust has been changed. Are you going to notice a big sound difference from a 2018? No, but they did that. That was one of the ways that they got 181 horsepower out of that inline four. But really nice, especially with the lights down here, the way that they're just ever so slightly just cut into the rear bodywork. I think if I'm going to zonk this, I would like to see a little bit more of some type of diffuser, and that exhaust, I would like to see a more finished product, especially at the club level trim. But let's go ahead, pop the hood, and see what's new for 2019. All right, guys, here we are underneath the hood of the 2019 Miata. That's the excitement right there. So that's a 2-liter inline 4 naturally aspirated engine. It's putting out 181 horsepower, 151 foot-pounds of torque. Now, if you're wondering what they do, just add a couple extra horsepower? No. If you have a 2018 Miata, you're looking at a bump from 155 all the way to 181, and the RPM has been bumped up from 7,000 RPM all the way to 7,500 RPM. Now, what's wonderful about the Miata is you get a limited slip differential, that LSD. No, we're not talking about hallucinogens. Limited slip differential. It weighs in at 2,453 pounds. If you go this route with the 6-speed, you can get this car with an automatic. MPGs, 26 in the city, 34 on the highway. Wonderful news, 0 to 60, you're going to hit that in 5.8 seconds. Now, some of the bigger things that's huge about this engine is that they've gone ahead and strengthened some of the internals. So you're going to have stronger pistons and stronger connecting rods. Let me explain to you what the heck a connecting rod is if you don't know what that is. So deep down, all the way down in that oil pan, is the crankshaft. The crankshaft spins. Attached to that crankshaft are pistons, obviously 4 of them. What connects the piston to the crankshaft is a connecting rod. So all that, the connecting rod and the pistons, has been strengthened because of the extra power coming out of this 2-liter inline 4. But let's go ahead and fire it up. All right, guys, here we are inside the 2019 Mazda Miata, that MX-5 RF. The biggest news is getting rid of that top. So I'm gonna lift up on this button, which I'll show you in a second. Windows drop a little bit, back portion raises, and it's very seamless. 1, 2, 3, folds away very nicely. And my favorite part is that finishing piece right there. I really like the way that just makes it a beautiful target top look rather than this all being gone. Now, if you're wondering, hey Joe, what does this cost? What does this fun cost? You're looking at $33,800 as this one is optioned. This one is at club level. You could go a little bit higher, club sport, or you could go lower. Let's see what you get for the money. On the door panels, I think it's really cool the way Mazda does this thing where they bring in the outside color into the interior. So I love the way that Soul Red is at the top of the door panel there. I love the faux leather on the back portion and the armrest, and the red contrast stitching. Now that armrest is pretty much useless. It's very, very small, but nobody's buying a Mazda Miata to relax in. This car is about being engaged in the driving experience. As you come from the door to the dash, it is harder plastic up top. a little bit softer in the middle here. Some gloss black trim, that red contrast stitching, and then there's our infotainment screen. Now the wonderful thing about this is their older system, which allows you to have touch, or I'll show you in a second, you could use that controller knob to go through the different functions. But I'm glad that it's still touchscreen and it's very easy to reach. As we go down from that, very simple controls. So you have your start, stop, and then the AC controls, they're simple, but they work. You can make it warmer, colder. You got your blower speed. Where do you want that air to hit you? This is that button I showed you earlier. It's gonna be where you could actually raise or lower that top very easily. You do have heated seats. So if you're on a colder day and you wanna have the outside coolness, but you don't wanna be freezing your butt off, you could actually warm up your seats. 2 USBs. This car does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a nice little cubby to kind of slide your phone in. As we go to this center, this is the magic. Great, slick shifting 6-speed manual transmission. I love the leather around the shift knob. I love the silver letting you know where the gates are, and that red contrast stitching. And I like this brushed aluminum, but I'm telling you right now, this thing feels directly engaged. Is it as great as an S2000 6-speed? No. But for on the market today, this has got to be one of the best transmissions. As we transfer back, here's where I was telling you. This is that almost like BMW iDrive system. So as I turn the knob, you'll see on the screen how you're able to go through the different functions. And then whatever you need, you just press down, and then you could go into your different things to adjust the contrast and all that kind of stuff. Or you just hit a home button to get your butt right back home. Updated volume knob, very simple to use. Good old-fashioned e-brake. I like the way it's wrapped in leather. It's got that red contrast stitching. It makes it cohesive. When you see these touches, it makes it seem like they really thought about it. Little tiny armrest. This thing is not very soft, but like I said, this car is not about softness. It's not about the creature comforts. It's about having fun, but it's large enough to put at least a pack of gum in there. If not, maybe something a little bit larger. You have 2 cup holders. Now what they did for the cup holders is that they made them a little bit easier to get in and out. You could actually take your cup holder and put it up here, or you could take your cup holder and put it back here, or you could take the cup holder and just get rid of it altogether, which personally, in this type of car, what are you gonna be drinking? You're really gonna be drinking big gulps and whatnot. So I'll go ahead and put that here, but they made it much easier to get in and out of. We do have, and I'm gonna move this other cup holder, a nice storage compartment back here. So if you're wondering, oh God, there's no glove box, where am I gonna put my gloves? You put them right here and you can easily get to them. 1, 2, 3. And then if you need a cup holder, there's your cup holder. Seats. Now this one comes with the black cloth. You can get this option with Recaros. I do like the durable feel, and I like the red contrast stitching. And you know what? They're comfortable. Even for a guy my size, 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, very, very comfortable. Why don't you come over to the driver's side, business end, because there's some new things happening here for 2019. Come on over. All right, guys, we're inside the business end. Why don't you come on in? Now, what's interesting is that for 2019, they made a change with the door. Not with the way it looks, but with the way it opens. It's now a 2-position door. If you look at a 28, you see how it holds nicely right there? If you look at a 2018, that's a 3-way position door. They were finding that people were having a hard time with that, so it's nice just to have the 2-position door. That's all you need. But as you come in, manual controls, which, you know, it's one of those things that they're trying to save weight and whatnot. If you want to go full Grand Touring, you can. That's your business. I think with this seat, all I had to do was just adjust the back and slide it back all the way for 6 feet tall, and I feel cool as a cucumber. Steering wheel. Love the size of it. I wish it was just a little bit thicker. Just a little bit thicker steering wheel, but here's the new thing for 2019. Watch this. For the first time ever on a Miata, they listened to us tall people. Telescoping and tilting wheel. So for me, being 6 feet tall, I want it all the way back and I want it up a little bit higher. Gives me a nice frame for the gauges there. And right smack dab in the center, if you're driving a sports car, you want that tachometer. Red line, 7,500 RPM. Over to the left is a digital gauge. It shows the car. It actually shows the roof going up and down when you're operating it. You have a digital fuel gauge in there, temperature, and then you have the speedometer on your right. Also in the lower right-hand corner of that tach, it lets you know what gear you're in. That is smart. That is all about the driving experience. Very simple on the controls on the steering wheel, but overall, I'm telling you, this has surprised me how comfortable it is, and I can't wait to take it for a spin. But before we do that, let me go ahead and put the top back up. So you're just gonna push down on that tab button I showed you. It's showing me the operation on the dash, and really quick for what it is. I'm gonna invite you back in real quick just to show you the headroom. So even though I may look cramped, I don't feel cramped, and I still have space above my head, which is unbelievable in a car this size. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and take this for a spin. Guys, we're rolling out of Furman Mazda. We're in the 2019 Mazda MX-5 RF. Right away, I love this 6-speed transmission. We got the top down. Really, really smooth. The way that the power is delivered is so smooth in this car, and that's to be expected being naturally aspirated, but I'm very pleasantly surprised. So many people have talked about the gearboxes in these Miatas, and this is actually the first Miata that I've ever driven, believe it or not, and I'm in love. I mean, this stick shift really feels so precise, and that's what this whole car is about. Being so light, being so nimble, having that drop top open air fun really just heightens the whole experience in this MX-5 RF. Really impressed. Visibility is a snap, obviously, out the front, the sides, and with the back window down, I almost feel like I'm in a total convertible car. You don't even see that structural portion behind your head as you're driving down the road. I wish the steering wheel was just a little bit thicker, like I said earlier. Other than that, I mean, it's got some harder plastics, but you know, they're trying to keep this at a certain price point, so I could understand where they're coming from. I'm gonna try to find a little bit of curvy section here. Hopefully we could pull it off, because unfortunately that's a downside about Florida. There's not many curvy roads. All right guys, pulling away from this light, first gear, into second, roll on the throttle. You don't have a lot down low, and that's to be expected, but once those RPMs start to rise, that's really when you can feel that extra power. Like I said, 181 horsepower in a car that weighs a little over 2,400 pounds, but just very, very smooth, very easy to drive. The clutch is feather light. Besides this car being feather light, the clutch is feather light and very, very smooth. The pickup point is at a great part in the travel of the clutch pedal. So even for somebody who's a first-time beginner with a manual transmission, I think they're gonna have a blast in this car, and it's gonna be easy for them to learn. I also like that the car is rear-wheel drive. I mean, that's just a different kind of driving experience when you have a rear-wheel drive car compared to something that is maybe front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Guys, let me go ahead and get on. I'm in second gear, roll on the throttle. Great sound from the exhaust out back. This thing handles, oh, this is a lot of fun. A little left, right. Now what I'm noticing is that there is a bit of body roll, but once you tip it into the turn, it sets up the weight and it allows you to just hold your line very nicely. But this thing is a go-kart. It is so nimble and wants to change direction so very quickly. I'm so impressed with what they have done with this Miata. Oh, heel toe is a piece of cake in this car. If you don't know heel toe, let me teach you. Get your Miata and I'll teach you how to do it. Really nice. It's just a fun car to drive. Even though this doesn't have the upgraded Brembos, the brake modulation is great. Feedback from the front end. It's almost like I feel like my hands are holding on to those front wheels. That's how good it is. Of course, we have people honking one another, but they're not honking at us because we're not doing anything wrong here. So one thing I want to point out is that with this compared to the traditional convertible Miata, there is a little bit of wind buffeting in the cockpit. Not much, but just a noticeable amount that I just picked up on. I just want to make you aware of, because remember, you know me, I like to try to give you all the information and try to be as honest as possible when it comes to my reviews. But rolling out, like I said, clutch is piece of cake. Really, really nice, the clutch engagement. There is, like I said, that buffeting, but it's to be expected if you want to have top-down fun, I guess. Just driving along here, very smooth. If I'm gonna zonk the interior, it's the center infotainment section area. It's a little too plasticky. I would like to see at this price point the car have dual climate control. I think that would just make sense. But other than that, I mean, the armrest that I was telling you about, you don't really feel, because you're just active in this car. It's like you're not really just sitting back and relaxing. You're just enjoying the drive, and this is what being a true enthusiast is about. And this is why I don't mind Miatas. I know some of you will be like, hey, it doesn't have a V8, can't do 190 miles an hour. But with this car, you're connected to it, and that's what a driver's car should be all about, not just about a horsepower number. But you do get quite a bit of wind noise, as to be expected. Okay, guys, let me take you down a little bit further. We should have 2 lanes here in a second. Here we go. Really holds the line well. It's all about momentum with this car, and it is a lot of fun. Brakes feel great, engine in. Really wonderful how this car handles. It really communicates well to you, and you know what? You kind of ignore the older infotainment system, you ignore the harder plastic, because you're having fun driving the car and you feel involved. That's the great thing about this car, is you just feel involved. Guys, I wanted to show you from this vantage point what it's going to feel like when you put the top up, and plus I wanted to drive with the top up a little bit because I'm sure you've been just blasted with wind. So I'm going to go ahead and push on the tab here. Window goes down a little bit. That's what you felt. It's not your head moving, it's not your screen moving. Top comes into place. You hear that beep, that lets you know, it says right there, operation complete. I'm just gonna seal up the window a little bit, and here we are inside the enclosed capsule known as the Mazda Miata. And it just feels comfortable. That's the thing, is once you're in, it feels comfortable, and I like it. So let's go ahead and get back to Furman Mazda, because they're probably wondering, oh, these guys are never coming back. Which, to be honest with you, I don't want to go back. I'm enjoying driving this car so much that I don't want to go back. But very quiet inside so far. We'll see once we get up to speed what kind of wind noise we're going to get with this retractable hardtop roof. But like I pointed out earlier, for a guy even my size, 6 feet tall, I don't feel cramped in here one bit. I really don't. So rolling out, you hear more of that engine, which I was missing before. Very smooth. The power delivery is so smooth in this car. That's what I really like about it. You're obviously not waiting for boost. What you're waiting for is for those RPMs to climb. Now, if you stay in that RPM range, it's gonna operate really, really well for you, and you're gonna be able to take advantage of that extra horsepower. But like I pointed out, 155 to 181 horsepower is nothing to joke about. That's a pretty substantial thing, especially when you look at cars like the WRX STI, which you know, they gave us 5 extra horsepower. So nice to see Mazda stepping up to the plate and giving us what we want. Heel toe, like I said, is a snap in this thing, man. It's like this car was just born to do that. Very seamless, very smooth. Gearbox is a dream. It really, really is. But I'm quite impressed. Even with the top up, you're not getting too much wind noise. Obviously, this isn't a submarine that you're driving around, so it's not like airtight, so to speak. But it is on the quieter side. I think you could hear the difference. And even over the bumps, the drive in this Miata is very, very pleasurable. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We're back to Furman Mazda, so I'll see you in a second. All right, guys, been a wonderful day here at Furman Mazda. Definitely got to give a huge shout out to Matt, Rob, and Bob. So supportive of Rady's Rides. Everybody here is so supportive. If these are the types of cars you like to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in that comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. Check out my different forms of social media. You know what they're called. It's all Rady's Rides original content all the time. If you want to get yourself some merch, click that link in the description, takes you right to Spreadshirt, and we got to give it up for Big Guns McGee. Check out his Instagram, @MoshPhotos. I'll leave that in the video. See what he's capturing with those two beautiful eyes of his. Wonderful, just wonderful magic. From a weightlifter to a man that loves babies. Isn't that the perfect package, ladies? I'm sure you would agree. But anyways, thank you for your work, Tom, and just like always, I'll see you on the next ride.